Since ancient times, humanity has asked itself, what happens after death? Accounts of supernatural experiences, video recordings, and spiritual beliefs suggest that the soul may detach from the body at the moment of passing. But is this a real phenomenon, or just a play of light and shadows? Here, we are going to explore mysterious footage, witness accounts, and conspiracy theories about these possible supernatural moments. Images of a car rescue, after it had crashed and submerged in a river, attracted attention on the internet when a supposed spirit appeared walking on the water. In the footage, you can see the attempt to rescue the vehicle with a backhoe when, suddenly, a figure appears walking on the water and passing by. The person filming the video does not seem to notice it at the time of recording, but after sharing it, online users began to question the supposed figure that goes by in the scene, almost imperceptible. By watching closely or with the help of slow motion and zoom, it becomes even easier to see that indeed something was passing by. Could it be the soul of one of the victims? Well, of course, it did not take long for many people to start putting forward theories and suppositions about the event, with most believing it was truly the spirit of one of the fatal victims, now freed and gone. Others preferred a more down-to-earth perspective, suggesting a possible hoax or some optical illusion. A driver was traveling on a highway when he came upon a recently occurred accident where the victims were being rescued and, while filming the moment, managed to record something quite curious. In the footage made by the driver who stopped at the scene to try to help, we can see a red car, badly crashed and heavily damaged, while rescue workers tried to assist the victims who were supposedly trapped in the car's wreckage. It is exactly at this moment that something strange happens on camera. After all, a silhouette with a human form emerges from the crashed vehicle, heading toward the sky and vanishing from view. Initially, the driver who was filming did not notice it, but after reviewing the video, he noticed what happened and decided to share it on the internet, causing a huge buzz.
545 live down here on Route 30, just short of the highway overpass at the scene of a two-car head-on collision. No information as to the extent of injuries or details further.
Many online users began to repost the video, believing it to be something supernatural, in this case the soul of one of the victims that, upon losing life, had its soul leaving the body and departing. Of course, there is no way to really know what might have happened, but the mystery remains. A driver who was stopped on a road due to an accident that had happened right in front of him ended up capturing a very mysterious moment. At the exact minute when the firefighters were rescuing the victims, already at the end of the recording, you can see something, leaving the overturned vehicle, which could supposedly be another sighting of a soul from a body that had lost its life right there. The light leaves the vehicle quickly, rises upward, disappears from sight, and leaves online users intrigued. Apparently, some of the victims managed to survive, but one, in particular, was not so fortunate, and therefore, many suggest that the soul seen in the images could have been that individual soul rising to the sky. A supposed experiment carried out in Japan with a woman was recorded and began to circulate on the internet, frightening many people. In the recording, the woman appears sitting in a chair with some devices attached to her body and her head. She then remains there motionless, showing no reaction, not even pain, when suddenly the experiment goes wrong and she dies in a very tragic moment. It is at that instant that the situation becomes even stranger, because the woman's spirit seems to exit her body in a frightening and very clear scene. Well, the moment that somehow leaked ended up on the internet, and there is no official information confirming it was truly an experiment or that the young woman in question actually passed away. However, that is the rumor circulating alongside the video, which became popular. This time, a bedroom camera caught the exact moment when a strange spherical figure, also called an orb, approached a bedridden man, went inside him, and then left. In the recording made during the night, we see the bedridden man on a bed, sleeping. Then, right in the lower part of the images, the orb appears, very small, and approaches the man, where it stays, let's say, dancing over him, until shortly afterward, it leaves and goes away, rising upward. The video, which was shared after it was analyzed, made many people believe it was something supernatural, especially because it involved a bedridden and apparently very ill man who could lose his life at any moment. According to some rumors, the bedridden man passed away that same night, leading people to believe it might have been some spirit or even an angel visiting him and taking away his soul. But, of course, nothing was confirmed. A puzzling video from a home's external security camera shows the moment when a couple and their daughter are cleaning the front of the house, when suddenly the mother feels sick and something very strange happens. In the footage, the couple appears in a relaxed manner, sweeping the front of the house while their daughter plays nearby. At a certain point, the man goes inside to get something, leaving the woman alone sweeping. That is exactly when she starts feeling unwell, lowers her head, not feeling right until she collapses on the ground and a dark smoke begins to leave her body, which is lying right there in front of the house, suggesting that something supernatural might have been taking place. It is not known what the outcome was, but rumors say the woman died, and that dark smoke might have been her soul leaving her body. The mother of a child identified as Sandra Gonzalez, who had died many years earlier, claimed to have seen her daughter's spirit even after so much time had passed, and, convinced of what she had seen, decided to share footage where, supposedly, her daughter's spirit appeared. The case quickly spread on social media and became news on several American newscasts. The little girl, identified as Fabiola Rodriguez, had lost her life in 2018, at 2 years old, after her mother's then-boyfriend committed abuse and took her life while the mother was not present. At first, the cause of the girl's death was unknown, but soon after the investigation, the mother's boyfriend, identified as Lalo Castrillo, became the prime suspect until it was finally discovered that he truly was the perpetrator of the crime. He was arrested and sentenced to 30 years in prison with no possibility of parole. Years after the child's passing, some items that were on the girl's grave began to move or disappear, and, through a security camera, it was possible to see what appeared to be a young girl tampering with the grave's objects. Upon seeing the footage, the mother became convinced it was her own daughter's spirit. The images worried the cemetery staff as the girl could have been wandering around at night. But when they saw the footage, both the mother and grandmother cried and got goosebumps, insisting it was little Fabiola. One final image supposedly showed the girl leaving with a tall man. According to the mother, it might have been an angel taking her to heaven. During a police call, a shootout left the suspect fatally wounded, and body camera images from the officers supposedly captured something very mysterious that went on to attract attention. According to information from the police department in Wisconsin, where the situation occurred, officers were called to respond to reports of gunshots. They then set out through the streets, carrying out traffic stops in order to identify the criminal who had fled in a vehicle. Realizing he was cornered, the suspect tried to run away on foot, hiding in some bushes and attempting to fire at the officers, who had no choice but to take his life before anyone else got hurt. Right after that, another curious occurrence caught people's attention. At the moment the shootout happened, a sort of ball of light or orb is seen leaving the bushes, and many people began to believe it was the soul of the criminal. The footage was shared by the police, began to be broadcast on newscasts, and quickly, viewers and online users started to replay the scene, showing the supposed orb that passed right by in the midst of the shooting. An Arab news broadcast showed thermal images of what would be the exact moment a soul left the body of someone already deceased. And, of course, the event took on a huge dimension, spreading worldwide. In the recording, which supposedly shows a deceased person through a thermal camera, we can see the instant in which the soul would be leaving the physical body and departing, clearly represented by the body temperature, which cools down until it practically vanishes completely. Indeed, it is something quite striking, and because it was shown on a television news segment, it received even more attention. It is worth noting that the authenticity of this footage is not known, so we cannot confirm anything. In any case, the situation generated a great deal of attention, and naturally, many theories involving supernatural elements started circulating, making the event all the more mysterious. A woman and her family were gathering to pay tribute and remember her father, who had passed away on that same day several years before, when something strange and unsettling happened at the place where they were. In the footage captured by a security camera, the family appears together, and a child, who would be the granddaughter of the deceased man, is playing there. Suddenly, behind her, in the same area where everyone was gathered, a candle that was on top of a piece of furniture moves by itself to the side, and the other candle next to it falls to the floor, even though nobody touches it or passes near it. Naturally, this left everyone there baffled, as, according to the daughter herself, the candle fell exactly when one of the relatives was talking to one of the grandchildren about the deceased grandfather.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the other day, she was in Zoe's room. What was that? I don't know.
The daughter, both amazed and terrified by what happened, decided to retrieve the camera footage and share the moment on social media, and the video quickly went viral. Many online users believe the spirit of the grandfather might have been visiting the place and manifested itself in this way. The resident of a house found something very strange on his bedroom mirror when he woke up and decided to record the situation to share it, looking for a possible explanation. In the footage he made, he shows his bedroom in daylight, says he found something surprising on the mirror, and when he reveals it, we see a handprint there, which he swears does not belong to him or anyone else, since nobody would have been there the previous night, or rather, nobody physically. In the footage, the resident even insists on placing his hand near the print to show that it is different and not the same size as his. Of course, as the video gained popularity on social media, many theories were raised by online users, suggesting that the man had received a visit from some ghost or spirit and that something supernatural might have happened there. A woman decided to share a video she had received from her brother-in-law, and the incident drew attention and puzzled those who watched. In the footage, she explains that she received that recording from her brother-in-law, who, frightened, was trying to understand what could be happening there, since, during the nighttime recording in his garage, a dark shadow appears and passes by, making it quite clear that something abnormal was going on. The figure appears suddenly, travels across the area, and has a weird shape, like it really could be a spirit or soul present there in some way. Some people started questioning whether it could be the shadow of a passing car or person, but the woman insists that no car or person went by at that moment, as there was no sound or even the light of a vehicle's headlights. A video made inside a hospital room shows the supposed moment when a patient loses his life and his soul leaves the body, going away. In the footage, the patient is lying in a bed in the hospital room late at night when suddenly a dark figure appears above him in a very strange way. This figure disappears, then returns again and stays there until the footage cuts out. The supposed supernatural apparition led many people to believe that indeed, this was the man's soul, which struggled to stay in his body even after he had already passed away. Many online users also raised the possibility of it being some entity, whether an angel or any other type, waiting for his departure to be able to guide his soul to its final destination. A curious person who was close to a fatal traffic accident, which claimed the lives of a family, decided to snap a photo to share in messaging apps. In that photo, they captured a beam coming straight down from the sky, as if it were a stairway taking the victims of that accident to heaven. A 9-month-old baby, the baby's mother, and the mother's best friend unfortunately died in the accident. The grieving family said in a television interview that they had no doubt that it was truly a stairway taking their souls to heaven. They believe in it so strongly that they printed the photo, placed it in a frame, and set it in their living room. The baby's mother was taking the child for a checkup at the doctor and had invited her best friend to keep her company. When she was on the road, she suddenly lost control of the vehicle, crashing head-on with a truck, with no chance of surviving. Indeed, in the photo, everything points to and gives the impression that the light was some sort of path to the sky. Some people argue against the theory, saying it is just a reflection or optical illusion caused by the camera or the local lighting. A family, suspicious of certain things that were happening in the house, mainly in the middle of the night, decided to install a camera in the bedroom and was shocked by what they saw in the footage. The man was sleeping peacefully until a somewhat whitish orb-like figure moves toward him and seems to enter his body. After a few seconds, that same whitish orb comes out and goes away. After reviewing the footage, they became convinced the house was being inhabited by spirits that disturbed them during the night. The man stated that after that same night of sleep, he awoke extremely tired and had some nightmares, which of course he believed had been caused by this supposed wandering spirit taking advantage not only of him, but of the entire family. The video was analyzed by some specialists who also concluded that it very likely could be something supernatural. The family shared the video on the internet and frightened many people, mainly because the footage does not appear to have been manipulated. A video posted by the channel The Dodo on YouTube tells an emotional story of a dog that, after its death, was supposedly manifesting itself spiritually in the house where it had lived with its family, who no longer live there. Years after the death of the family's dog, they met the new residents of their old house and heard a surprising story about the spirit of their beloved pet, which was manifesting in that place in various ways. Finding the situation quite strange, the new family living there contacted the old owners, told them about the problem, and they quickly concluded that it had to be the dog that used to live there with them and that had died on the property. The family recognized it all right away, as the details provided about the supposed spiritual manifestations matched exactly what the dog used to do in the house and in the room where it spent most of its time. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.